Hello guys, it's D to the B and let's just get into it. I thought The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1 wasn't very good. I was confused as heck with this episode. It was so confusing where I didn't catch everything in the first time and then I had to watch it again later. And it wasn't very good. Let's get into the premise of this episode. So, Mando goes to a strange planet that we don't even know where it is to see these creatures from Return of the Jedi. I can't remember what they're called, battling each other to the death, which Mando would walk into the battle arena, not to fight them, but just to sit and watch. And he's talking to this one-eyed alien who wants to make a bet with him to get his Beskar armor. He was so confident to get that armor, he killed one of the competitors on the arena, which would have Mando surrounded. Then they would have a big fight. Mando would beat them all, and then the alien who tried getting the Beskar armor gets what he deserves. Then we go back to Tatooine because there's another Mandalorian. We meet up with the person with episode 5, which I didn't mind that episode. I actually didn't mind it. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to forgive this episode for the previous episode on Tatooine. No. It is getting a lot of hate from me no matter what. Alright, let's continue with the episode. So, the lady from the 5th episode of Season 1 explains to Mando about an area on Tatooine that was wiped from the maps during the events of the Empire versus the Rebel Alliance. So, Mando tries heading in that direction. He actually does find the place. He meets up with the Mandalorian, or so-called Mandalorian, with the Marshal. The Marshal has a Mandalorian armor, but not just any Mandalorian armor, Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor. And then we get a flashback explaining how after the Death Star blew up, a bunch of scoundrels took over. He stole one of their crates, found Jawas, bought Boba Fett's armor because they wanted what was in the crate, and then went back to his town, dealt with the bandits, and permanently killed them with the missile. This was one thing that all of us, me, my mom, my brother, pointed out, how the Marshal was able to work the armor. Like, how? He just got it. Like, sure, if he practiced with it a bit, I could let it slide, but he had just got the armor. He did not know about the missile feature, which, to be honest, Boba Fett and Jango's armor are the only ones that, have the missile thing. Well, that I'm aware of. Mando wants the armor from the Marshal because it's Mandalorian armor, but he shows another reason he kept it, because of the giant sandworm on the planet. I forget what it's called. And shows a creature from Tatooine being eaten. Also forget the name. Sorry if I forget a lot of the creatures' names in this episode. I don't remember everything in Star Wars. Which the Marshal and the Mandalorian go through the desert to find the sandworm. And guess what they run into? Tusken Raiders. And they were pretty easy to bargain with. Which, how? Like, I can get the sign language thing. Like, they could have been intimidating, but Now they're just socializing. They're just socializing. Like common, normal people. These are the same people who attacked Luke Skywalker, killed Anakin's mother. But here they are, just talking to each other, of course, in a different language, but they're still talking to each other. Like everything is hunky dory. Or they would eventually go to the cave with the worm, and then we get to see a Tusken Raider get eaten. Then the town and the Tusken Raiders all team up together to defeat the sandworm. And then we also find out this in their final battle. No, actually, two things. One, you can only kill them by underneath their stomach, which that makes it incredibly hard, including how creatures walk with their stomachs, especially worms. Well, they don't walk on their stomachs, but their legs are where their stomach is. And then we also find out that this thing shoots acid through its mouth. And then eventually we get to the final battle where the Mandalorian holds one of Tatooine's creatures with a bunch of bombs on it because their first attempt to blow it up failed and he gets eaten by the sandworm. I did not care for this moment because knowing how plot armor works and knowing there's the rest of season 2, knowing that, I knew Mando wasn't dead. And then we get to see Mando electrifying himself out of the beast, blowing up the worm, and then the Tusken Raiders start grabbing its meat. They find an egg or a pearl. We were really confused what that thing was. And then the Mandalorian leaves with Boba Fett's armor. And then the Mandalorian leaves, and that is the end of the episode. Nah, just kidding. The episode really ends with Boba Fett. And that was the best part of the episode. That's it. The appearance of Boba Fett. Granted, we were aware of this happening for a while. We also know that Ahsoka's returning. What her name is, it's from the Clone Wars, was also returning. So, yeah, not that much of a shock, but it was still a nice moment, and the best part of the episode. But in all, this episode kinda stinks. With highlights here and there, it trying, it just sucks. And I'm really hoping the second episode doesn't suck as well. Because if it does suck, I'm canceling my subscription. But hopefully, the next episode does not suck. I'm really hoping. Because I really do like The Mandalorian. I think it's not that bad. Is it enough to save Star Wars? No. Of course not. There's endless damage, and it will take a lot more than just The Mandalorian and Jedi Fallen Order to fix this mess. But it's a decent thing to have in the Star Wars canon, well, at least in my opinion. I know there are some people who don't like The Mandalorian, like Anomaly Inc., that Star Wars girl, and many others. But that's fine. They can have their own opinion. I personally kind of like the show. Not saying that the show had its problems. It certainly did have its own set of problems. I personally hated episodes 2 and 4. I thought they were the worst episodes ever. But as we all know, nothing's perfect. Nothing. But that's my personal opinion. Tell me what you guys thought of the episode in the comments. Anyway, this is D to the B signing off. And if I had to rate this episode, I had to say 3 out of 10. It wasn't that good. Alright, have a nice day.